Hello, everyone. It's Steve with Aptera Owners Club. Several days ago, Aptera had a little spot on CNN. This was not their first time on CNN. They had a spot back in April of 2023, which didn't seem to make too much of an impact on the Google searches for Aptera, but they did have another spot recently. But more importantly, Chris Anthony had a kind of a longer 8-minute conversation with Julia Chatterley on her podcast, First Move. And I put that in here in case you guys want to listen to it. So here it is. Enjoy. Thanks, and have a great day, everyone.
Welcome back to First Move and to a car conversation that could have been lifted from the pages of a sci-fi novel. The Aptera solar electric car is being developed by a startup in California, the land of sunshine. And for people who drive 65 kilometers a day or less, they say it won't cost a cent. They also promise a full charge of the battery can let you travel up to 1,600 kilometers. Now, 40,000 people have signed up to buy, but they may have a wait. Just to give you a sense, in July, the firm completed wind tunnel tests in Italy. Now, we'll discuss the design intended to produce the lowest drag coefficient among all production passenger vehicles. Aptera claims it's 3 times more efficient than a Tesla Model S. Now, as you can imagine, the cash burn probably almost as hot as the sun, and that's what every car maker tells us on First Move. Aptera is using a novel way to address that by crowdfunding for the money it needs. And Chris Anthony is Aptera's CEO, and he joins us now. Wow, Chris, we have a lot to discuss. Give us the strongest selling point and why 40,000 people have decided they want to buy this in future.
Well, the Aptera is brutal execution on first principles engineering. It starts with aerodynamics, lightweight, and a super efficient powertrain. They can get you over 1,600 kilometers of range in one direction. And I think the vehicle looks unique. It looks like the future. And I think people are drawn to solutions that can really make the world a better place. And Aptera is it.
And what's the 0 to 60? The first question I get asked when I talk about cars.
0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 4 seconds. Because it's so lightweight, it really zips around.
Okay, perfect. And as you and I mentioned in the introduction there, obviously there is the opportunity to charge this if you want to, but if people who are not traveling that far and if they're just doing short distances, this runs on solar energy.
Yeah, we have Tesla supercharger access, and the base vehicle acts just like any other electric vehicle, really. The cool thing about Aptera is because it's so efficient, we actually have solar panels on the top that can trickle charge the battery every time it's out in the sun. You get about 65 kilometers a day of free power just from the sun if you leave it outside.
What if it's not sunny? What if it's just daylight?
Yeah, in Southern California, we get 16,000 kilometers a year of free driving. If you live in a more dreary place like the UK or Boston or Seattle, that may be closer to 12,000 kilometers of free driving a year. But that's still a pretty impactful amount, especially when people are paying $6 a gallon for fuel in the U.S. for free transportation. The Aptera is a very interesting proposition for people.
Who's the customer? It's a unique design. We're just looking at the pictures now, and I'm sure a number of our viewers will be like, we're comparing it to the relative efficiency of a Tesla, as you say, but it looks pretty different.
Yeah, we started with the engineering of the vehicle to make the most efficient thing possible. We didn't really start with a market segment or a focus group, or we wanted to get into, crossover SUV with 16 cup holders. We solved the equation for vehicle efficiency, and that equation looks like the Aptera. Most vehicles on the road today use 60 to 70% of their fuel just pushing air out of the way at highway speeds. So if you want to have a really efficient vehicle, it's got to look very different. It's got to be super aerodynamic. Next biggest loss is from weight, rolling resistance, and then powertrain losses. So we solve those 3 equations, and we get something that gets over 350 miles per gallon equivalent.
And it's just a 2-seater, just to be clear.
2-seater side by side, and you got plenty of storage in the back. You can put a couple mountain bikes back there, a 7-foot surfboard. And we actually have a camping kit where you put a tent over the back, and you can actually camp in the Aptera. You can drive 200 miles to your favorite camping location, camp for a week, and actually come back with more energy in your Aptera than you left with.
Okay, eagle-eyed viewers there will have spotted a price. What's the price of this on the road?
The base vehicle is about $26,000. That gets you 250 miles of range. And then you can get options on the drivetrain and the battery pack to get you all the way up to 1,000 miles of range, 1,600 kilometers of range. And that costs around $45,000.
Okay, so the key now is, when is it going to be on the road, available for people to buy? And as I mentioned also in the introduction, and the conversation that we always have with people building new cars or innovating, is that it's a cash burn business. Talk to me about crowdfunding to raise money. Why go that route? Why not have a conversation with a bank or big investors? Why such small sums of money?
Yeah, we have over 16,000 investors in Aptera now. It's the most successful crowdfunding in history. And we're putting that money to good use to get the first validation vehicles done by the end of this year and hopefully start delivering vehicles to customers by next summer. But crowdfunding has been just amazing for us. It's a tool where you can invest in innovative companies early on. I would have loved to invest it in early Tesla, early Google, but a decade ago it just wasn't available. It's a recent proposition that Congress passed legislation to allow for this type of crowdfunding, and we think it's exciting that people can buy into equity in Aptera and kind of take the journey with us into making transportation solar powered and making the world a cleaner, greener place for transportation.
So, but you also have to protect these people to some degree and provide some kind of return. Are you saying that you did this because you wanted the opportunity to give people the opportunity to invest in an innovative early stage company versus going to a bank and perhaps getting more stable money, for example? Expensive, perhaps.
We think that being able to invest early in great ideas like this is amazing for many reasons for people. And for us, it gives us more flexibility in how we raise the money. We don't have to take on onerous terms that might come from a VC or an investment bank. And we're able to grow the company, kind of on our terms, built by the people for the people, not built by the banks. So I think it's an amazing proposition for people to be able to invest in amazing ideas like Aptera and other things.
And how much have you raised?
We raised about $90 million from the crowd, and we raised another $20 million privately.
And there's a pause at the moment. You're talking to the SEC, I know, about, I think, changes of documentation between accredited investors and not accredited investors. Obviously, that depends on the individual's wealth, whether they're considered accredited or otherwise. Chris, can you explain that? And can you just confirm to me that as you're taking this crowdfunding money, the earlier investors and some of the owners of the business aren't sort of taking their money out? Is this purely going to build the car?
Yeah, the earliest investors in Aptera invested at 20 cents a share. We've gone through successive crowdfunding rounds. Now we're selling equity at $10.50 a share. But our crowdfunding has been so successful, we keep reaching the cap for our annual limit, which is $75 million a year. So we have to refile with the SEC to raise that cap, so we can kind of do a rolling $75 million a year. So the unaccredited round is paused right now, but it should be open in the next couple weeks. But we can always take in accredited investors under a Reg D application, and that's kind of limitless. We can raise as much money as we want from accredited investors.
Cool. And just to reiterate, none of you guys have taken any money out. You guys are all still in there.
Oh yeah. We hope to take the company public as we start production, and I think that's an amazing proposition for all our 16,000 investors. Everybody wants to see the day when we're publicly traded and we have the capital to grow the company effectively and make new vehicles, not just this 3-wheel vehicle, but others for package delivery, food delivery, more commercial applications, possibly a 5-seater in the future. So it's an exciting time to launch this vehicle, and it's an exciting time to have all these investors and support. And we're looking forward to delivering our first vehicles here in about a year.
Yeah, watch out, Elon Musk. Chris, love your ambition. Come back and talk to us soon, please. I'm interested to track progress. Great to chat to you. Chris Anthony, the CEO of Aptera. Thank you.